Chalo. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. This is part three of Basics in Arabic. And today we're going to cover some things about subject and predicate. We're going to cover some things about ma'arif and nakira, otherwise known as determinate and definite and indefinite nouns. And we're also going to cover a tiny bit about pronouns. But before that, we're going to cover the three types of words that are in the Arabic language, right? So every word in the Arabic language is a breakdown of these three words, right? An ism, a fi'l, or a harf, right? Now, ism in its English equivalent would be a noun. A fi'l would be in its English equivalent a verb. And a harf in its English equivalent would be a conjunction. Any conjunction words like and, or, is, those sorts of words, right? And the reason why, there's a distinction in these three simple terms because even in most languages, you can find that this is a similar case as well, that most languages, they'll have a noun, they'll have a verb, and they'll have some sort of word that connects both of them together, right? But right now, in our topic that we've covered so far, we've only covered isms, right? So all words. All words are going to be one of these three, right? Now we will cover something known as, well, we'll cover more vocab a little bit first, right? Because what you call it, we went over some vocab yesterday. Now we're going to go over a little bit more vocab today, right? So I'm going to use adjectives. So the word for big, kabirun, right? Kaf, ba, ya, ra, kabirun, right? This is the word for big. And for small, it's صغير. So صاد, غين, يا, را. صغير. This is the word for small. And then we'll go basic words as well that aren't related to adjectives, but they're basic words like yes and no. Right? So the word for yes would be نعم, noon, عين. Hold on. Let me erase that real quick. That was not good. All right, so let's make that slightly bit better. Whoops. So the word for yes is na'am, noon, ayn, mim, right? This is the word for yes. The word for no is la, lam, alif. No, right? Now, two more things, right? Some other words we covered yesterday in our other lesson. We briefly mentioned ana and anta, right? So ana, right? The word ana means me or I. And the word anta refers to you, right? So if you were to use ana in a sentence, it'd be like, I am big, right? Ana kabirun, right? Or if you wanted to say you are small, it'd be anta saghirun, right? And these are pronouns. Now there's three types of pronouns. There's the first person, the second person, and third person. Right? We'll cover more than in depth later, right? But it's a good to keep in mind now so that when we go into the future, we'll have an idea that okay, what are we dealing with, right? And the word for the pronouns that we're doing right now would be called al-dama al-damair al erase that al-marfu'a al-marfu'a, right? So this is the term for what we're doing right now for the pronouns ad-damair al-marfu'a, right? And we'll get into more details about this later for al-marfu'a, right? But for now, we just focus on ana and anta, right? Make sure to make a slight correction, right? It would just be me. Now, we talked about yesterday some more words, right? Like rajulun, fardun, waladun, himarun, right? Man, monkey, boy, donkey. And we also covered these words as well. Ana and anta, right? I and you, right? Ana is first person, anta is second person. It's you, right? And now we're also going to go into how some of these words can be specifically or unspecific, and that means the definite or indefinite, right? So we take a look over here, go on the side, right? Like for example, if we wanted to say, because kabirun, right, is just it's unspecific. It's just a big, right? A big thing or a big something, right? If you wanted to make it specific, if we wanted to make it definitive, definite, then we would write al, right? Al. So al plus kabirun, this would equal al-kabiru. So al-kabiru. Notice something here, right? If we add the word al in this tanween that we have before, the dammatain is now singular, right? It's just a damma, right? So it becomes from kabirun to al-kabiru, right? And this is a good thing to remember because in Nahwa, in grammar, right, there's a principle that comes when it comes to the words, right? Nahwa, grammar, it has to mostly to do with the endings of the words, right? And the structure of sentences and whatnot, right? So that's why there's an emphasis on the ending of a word, right? In this case, the ending of the word when it was not specific, when it was indefinite, it was kabirun, and when it's definite, it's al-kabiru, right? So this becomes the big, right? So if we were to apply this to another thing like a monkey, right? So kirdun, right? Let's do that, right? Alif. lam plus قردٌ. This would equal al قردٌ, right? So now we went from a monkey to the monkey, right? And all of these words that we cover, right, are isms. And there's many types of isms. We'll go into that in the future, but it's important to know that these words that we're dealing with for now is mostly related to isms, right? And the deal with this is that when it comes to isms, right, largely what we've been doing has to do with subject and predicate, right? It's known in Arabic as mubtada khabar, right? So I'll give an example real quickly, right? Let's say the sentence ذَلِكَ. So ذَلِكَ فَرَسٌ, right? ذَلِكَ فَرَسٌ. This would be that is a horse, right? ذَلِكَ is the subject, and the predicate, a predicate is what the subject is or what the subject is doing, right? So the predicate is this, the horse, right? So ذَلِكَ, that is the subject. Farasun, the horse is a predicate, right? So in total, you get something called mubtada khabar. I'll write it in English first. Mubtada khabar, right? The subject is the mubtada, and the khabar is the predicate, right? And I'm going to write it down in Arabic as well, right? So we'll write so this meme ba, oh what, da, all right, meme ba, mub da, da, and then khabar. Mubtada khabar, right? So mubtada is the subject, khabar is the predicate, and in this basic sentence we have dhalika farasun, that is a horse, right? And if we wanted to know that, and this makes a full sentence, right? That is a horse. So a sentence in Arabic could be called a jumla, right? Let me spell it out for you. So the tablet was not working for a moment. So spelling would be Jim, Meme, Lam, Ta, Jumla. This is the word for a sentence in Arabic. There's types of sentences too. Like I said, we'll get into all that in the future. Right now, we're just building up on basic subjects and getting a brief overview, a brief idea of these subjects like mubtada khabar and jumla and isms and fi'l and harf and everything else that we've covered, right? And the pronouns, ad-damaya al-marfu'a, right? So in total, we've covered pronouns, ad-damair al-marfu'a, right? We've covered some vocabulary now, a little bit new vocabulary. We've covered what isms are, right? We've covered a sentence and it's in a basic sentence structure because both of these are also isms, right? You can keep that note in mind too, right? They're both isms. Or rather, the plural would be asma instead of isms, right? But isms, I'm saying that in English just for you guys to get a brief idea of it. It's actually called asma, right? And over here, we've said that there's three words that constitute the entire language of Arabic. Ism, fi'l, and harf, right? Ism is the equivalent of a noun, fi'l is a equivalent of a verb, and harf is the equivalent of a conjugation or a conjunction word, right? And now we're going to cover just a brief bit more vocab, and then I'll leave you guys off, right? So the word for new, jadi, dun, so word for new. And the word for knowledge is al-ilmun, or rather, it'll be the knowledge, but still, al-ilmu, the knowledge. The two new words, we've covered a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 new words, right? I hope you're all writing this down and keeping this in mind, right? Because it's important to know all these words because when we'll go more in depth into the future and we'll actually cover texts that we use in Dars and Nizami, right? We're going to see a lot of these words come in play. And when by the time when we get to that point, we'll hopefully be able to understand most of the words and what they're saying, right? It's important to build up a vocabulary list of a couple words, right? And then when you're going into any similar text, then you're able to understand a fair amount of those words, right? All right. That brings a conclusion for our lesson today for part 3. Insha'Allah, the last lesson for the week will be tomorrow. And afterwards, we'll have a little bit of a break and we'll start back again on Monday. Insha'Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.